The itinerary I'm going to share with you is exactly what I would share with family or friends if they were coming up for their dream Alaskan vacation. We'll take you to my top destinations in a way that makes sense and makes the most of your time. Whether you're road tripping or renting an RV, this will work for you. Hi, I'm Molly. I'm a local Alaskan. I've lived here for 18 years. I'm raising my family here, and I have personally been to all of the destinations I am recommending to you today. But I'm not only going to share top destinations, I'm going to share why I like them, what top activities there are to do there, and where you can stay whether you're camping or not. So the majority of people are going to be flying into Anchorage, which is the largest airport in Alaska. So that's where we're going to start. So you've got your vehicle, you're ready to go. The first place we're going to hit is Seward. We're going to head south. It's probably about 2.5 hours from Anchorage. Once you hit the coast, you will be sold. It is a gorgeous drive. If you're not in a rush and you want to know of good places to stop along the way, I will put a link in the description and the comments of another video I posted of good stops along the Seward Highway. Seward is a must. It's not one of those places that you want to miss. Here are the top reasons I visit Seward at least a couple of times every summer. The wildlife cruises are amazing in Seward. We did this cruise in May a couple of years ago and we saw it all. It was a gorgeous day. We saw orcas, we saw humpbacks showing off, we saw otters, we saw sea lions. It was just fantastic. And that was all in just a 4-hour cruise. So definitely recommend, if you want to get out on the water and see wildlife, a wildlife cruise. If you want a relatively easy way to see a glacier, you could stop at Exit Glacier, which is right before you get into Seward. If you're interested in hiking, Talkeetna Point Hike is a great hike. It's pretty family friendly. Doesn't take very long to get to a nice viewpoint. Of course, if you want to fish, Seward is a great place to take a fishing charter. You could go for salmon, you could go for halibut, you could go for both. There's also cod and other species that you can catch as well. It's a great time being on the water. We have a travel trailer, and so we always camp when we're there, and I wake up to this gorgeous beach view. Look at that. Love it. But if you don't have an RV, there are plenty of hotels and Airbnbs. I say plenty, but you really do need to book it in advance. So if Seward is on your list and you want to stay the night there, you want to book at least 6 months in advance so that you get the spot that you want. So you've enjoyed a nice day and night in Seward and you're ready to head to your next destination. You're going to head back in the direction of Anchorage, but we're going to take a turn off, head to the Kenai, more specifically Cooper Landing. You're going to see the world famous Kenai River. That is the main attraction of why I think Cooper Landing is worth it. It's a really cute, quaint fishing town. What I would do in Cooper Landing is I would fish on the Russian River, or I would take a scenic rafting float just to be on the water. There are a few campgrounds in Cooper Landing, Quartz Creek being one of them that does take reservations. There are a few cabins and accommodations. Again, you want to book early. So that drive from Seward to Cooper Landing was probably about an hour and a half max maybe. If you don't want to stay in Cooper Landing or you can't find accommodations, you could actually extend it on, and we're going to go to Homer. That is our next stop. It's a little over 2 hours from Cooper Landing to Homer, so if you're not doing much in Cooper Landing, you could do this in one day. Homer is such a cool town. Again, it's one of those that my family, we try and hit at least once a summer. We like to stay at the Heritage RV Park. You're right on the water and you have full hookups, nice amenities, and it's right by the fishing hole. Here is my son who caught fish in that fishing hole.
God!
Sawyer, what'd you
It
get?
would have snapped this rod if I didn't. I had to walk in the water and pick it up. It would have snapped the rod.
So it's definitely an easier place to try and catch fish, simply because the fish get trapped there. Homer has a real artsy feel to it. There's some great food options. So one major reason I recommend Homer is for tide pooling. If you can time your trip when there is a negative tide in Homer, meaning like -1, -2, -3 during low tide, that means the water is going to be much further out, uncovering all these awesome rocks and places where you can find amazing starfish and some other really awesome creatures. So it's something that is really popular amongst the locals and Alaskans. Once we discovered it, we honestly try and go at least once every 2 years, specifically just for the tide pooling in Homer. You're going to go to Bishop's Beach and follow anyone that looks like they know what they're doing. And I may sound like a broken record, but fishing is great in Homer as well. I mentioned the fishing hole, but you can take charters. It's popular for halibut from Homer as well. Homer is slightly bigger than Cooper Landing, so you're going to find a little bit more options of accommodations or hotel or Airbnbs. So that was destination number 3. Now we are headed back to Anchorage, and that's about a 3.5-hour drive. Here's where you have options. You can stay in Anchorage if you don't want to be driving for more than that, or you can continue on about an hour and a half more to the town of Talkeetna. If you're staying in Anchorage, I will link another video in the description that I made of my top 10 activities I would do if I had 24 hours in Anchorage, so don't miss it. Talkeetna is a small hippie town. Why I think it's worth it is a great place to get in the air. Full disclosure, I haven't had the luxury of getting on a helicopter or a small plane, but it is on my bucket list. I've heard great things pretty much from about all of the different companies that you can choose from. But the reason Talkeetna is a good location is if you want to see Denali or you want to land on a glacier. These are options. So Talkeetna is a little bit closer to Denali. So it's a very popular place to take a helicopter tour. I'm sure that you will remember for a lifetime. There's also some good eating and some artsy shops. So it's a good time overall. There's a few campgrounds to choose from and a decent amount of accommodations. Again, book early. We continue heading north and our 5th stop is, of course, Denali. Plan about a little less than a 3-hour drive from Talkeetna to Denali. There are a few campground options there, as well as some hotels, resorts, and Airbnbs. I don't need to explain to you why you should see Denali, but I will say this. If you're wanting to go to Denali to see the mountain, don't. Here's why. You're going to see it on your way if you're lucky enough to have a clear day. You go to Denali to see the animals. You can only drive your personal vehicle to mile 15 in Denali. So if you really want to see animals, you're going to get on a bus and you're going to tour that way. Last time I went with my family a few years ago, we saw all of the big 5 except for the wolf. We saw grizzly, we saw Dall sheep, caribou, and moose. It was amazing. Most people are going to opt to spend more than one night in Denali because of how far away it is and how much there is to see. There's also some hikes that are beautiful. So if you're really adventurous, you're going to want more time in Denali. This is a hike that my family and I did. Let me know if you want more information about that in the comments. I should say there's a rafting trip right near Denali that I personally really want to do. I haven't done it yet, but if you are adventurous, check that out. All right, so you've fished, you've hiked, you've seen wildlife in the water, you've seen wildlife on land. What haven't you done? Walked on a glacier. So we're gonna leave Denali, head like we're heading back to Anchorage, but when we get into Palmer, we're gonna get on the Glen Highway and head a little bit north, about an hour further north to get to the Matanuska Glacier. This is our next destination. I don't even have to use words, just look at these photos. So the cool thing is that there is a company that tours you through the glacier. They look at it, they assess the glacier every morning for safety, and they know where they can take you, what crevices they can take you through. The glacier is always changing. There's always new things to see. I've done this trip 3 times now, and it never gets old because there's always something new. So this is a great, relatively affordable way to spend about an hour and a half literally on a glacier. It's an experience like no other. Now, another suggestion, if you want to land on a glacier, you could go to Sheep Mountain. They have helicopter tours, and then you can take the helicopter to parts of the glacier that you can't get to by foot. This is that unreal photo opportunity that you expect when you come to Alaska. If you want to stay the night, you can camp at Grandview. You can sleep at Sheep Mountain Lodge. If you're feeling a little more adventurous, try Alpenglow Luxury Glamping. Personally love that place. Now you're just about 2 hours away from Anchorage, ready to head back and see closure to your epic Alaskan adventure. Obviously, you're going to make this trip your own. You're going to spend less time at one place, more time at another that's more interesting. Maybe take one of them out of the mix if you don't care for it. But this general itinerary gets you to all of these wonderful places, making the most out of your time. If you have any questions, by all means, please leave me a comment. I try and answer them. And if you find yourself in Anchorage, be sure to watch this video so you make the most of your time there. Happy travels. I'm so excited for you.